Hi, and welcome once again to today's 4-Minute Mark. Mark chapter 10, starting at verse 46. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, that is, the son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. A couple things to bring up today. One is, do you remember James and John said, "Rabbi, we want you to do for us whatever we asked." And Jesus basically said, "Can't do that." Here, Jesus says to blind Bartimaeus, "What do you want me to do for you?" Well, what's the difference between what James and John were getting at and the needs of this blind man? The difference is that the blind man said, "Have mercy on me." The blind man knows that he's nothing in the eyes of society, particularly back in those days when it was often thought that when you had a disability, it was because of sin. Either your sin or your parents' sin or maybe your grandparents' sin, but God was judging you, and that's why you're in the position you're in. So he knows he's not been a disciple of Jesus. He knows he has no claim on Jesus to say, "Jesus, do for me whatever I ask you." Instead, he just says, "I need mercy. Have mercy on me." And Jesus is willing to do that. Jesus says, "So what do you want? Ask me what you want. Have mercy on me." And he calls Jesus son of David. In other words, Messiah, because they knew that the Messiah was supposed to be a descendant of David, to fulfill the prophecy that a descendant of David would sit on David's throne forever. So this blind man knows who Jesus is. Interesting that though he's blind, he knows more than many people do. He actually knows the true identity of Jesus Christ. And who revealed that to him? God did. Just as God reveals the true identity of Jesus Christ to all of us. In fact, there have been Bible scholars that have said that the reason this story is placed here, and we know that God superintended the Gospels and God superintended the events of Jesus' life. So the reason that this is here is it's not just the story of another healing. Okay, Jesus healed another guy. But rather it's saying that the disciples are blind. If you remember what we said the previous days, this week and last week, the disciples are blind to what the real mission of Jesus is, to what's really going on here. And they need God to open their eyes so that they can see. And this blind man understands who Jesus is, understands his place. "I need mercy from you, O God." He can see more than the disciples can. And so he is granted his full sight at the end of the story. And it's interesting that this happens right before the triumphal entry, right before Jesus goes into Jerusalem, where eyes will be opened to what's really going to happen to Jesus. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.